3-bell full body challenge program. This is going to last 4 weeks. We have 6 programs per day for you to try, and the big challenge is to finish them all. They only last 20 minutes each. You have the option to double the time on the interval sets and repeat them enough to make a 40-minute session if you so choose to have a longer class, but only 20 minutes. This is meant to get you through those tough months, whether it be holidays, travel times, or anytime you need a reset, and doing 40-minute classes seems like a little bit too much. We're gonna go over basic kettlebell skills, give options for advanced, and then I'll also give some modifications if you're more in that intermediate level that's just past beginner. If you're an absolute beginner, we recommend that you start with our beginner program before doing this program, and then you can try one of our challenge options. Today, you only need 1 kettlebell. You have the option to bring 2 if you wanna have a heavier one for some suitcase style deadlifts, but 1 bell will suffice, and it should be a nice moderate weight that you can single arm swing. We're gonna get started right away, so make sure that you have your bell out, you have some space and room around you, and we'll come down to the floor for a short 4-minute warm-up. We're gonna start with a hip 90-90. So you're gonna sit down on the floor with your right leg in front of you and your left leg behind you in sort of this bent knee position with your chest and torso up. We're gonna try to keep the chest and torso up, and all we're going to do is shift our legs side to side, trying to move from our hips. So we're initiating the movement there, keeping the torso up. So we're going through internal and external rotation here, just warming up our hips. So go ahead and join me if you haven't started yet. We're only doing 1 round of everything here, and everything in the warm-up only requires your own body weight. These are called, again, hip 90-90. So we're just shifting side to side, moving from the hips, taking the rest of our body with us, and trying not to round our chest forward. You're going to be here for about another 10 seconds, and then we're gonna come up to our feet for some lateral shifts. The lateral shift is just like a lateral lunge, except our feet are going to stay planted, and we're just gonna shift our weight side to side. Let's go ahead, come up in 3, 2, and 1. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I kind of moved myself forward doing that. So it's totally fine if you do the same. Okay, so to start these lateral shifts, we're gonna go feet a little wider than shoulder width with your toes pointed forward. Try to move your weight forward into your feet. We're going to sit our weight back into one of our hips and imagine that hip going up and back. If it feels good for you to rotate a little bit here and move your belly button towards your inner thigh, loading into this hip, that's amazing. You can try that. You're just going to shift side to side, either keeping your chest forward or really shifting over into that hip by lifting it up and back. Go ahead and join me here. So we're just gonna move side to side. This doesn't have to be fast, and you can even hold and practice that little rotation here of lifting the hip up and back. Those of you that have done windmills before, this action should feel very similar. Try adjusting your feet if you feel like you went a little too wide at first. Totally normal if that happens. We are doing a lot with suitcase deadlifts, some rack marches today, and some dead stop cleans. So we're just getting the hips prepped to do those ballistic movements. You're going to be here for 5, 4, 3, 2. Go ahead, come down to the floor. We'll take 15 minutes to get set up for a very basic forearm plank. Grab onto your elbows. Let's go with our arms out in front of us today so they form a 90-degree angle, unless that's too much on your shoulders. So grab the elbows, bring the arms in front of you and make fists. Now bring each foot out so they're about shoulder width apart. Squeeze your butt, push your arms down and pull your elbows back. I want you just to hold here and try to breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your mouth, laterally in towards your rib cage as you push the ground away from you and keep pulling the elbows back. See if you can get tight through the glutes, push the heels back more, and then think about pulling your chin back into your neck. So everything in your face, try to relax that and get tense everywhere else. We're gonna hold here for 3, 2, and 1. Knees come down and we take a small break. That's a feeling I want you to have when you're in your single arm swing today. That tight and everything facing forward without rotation. Okay, last thing. Go ahead, pop onto your back. We're gonna take some baby Turkish Get Ups. We're gonna go 3 reps each side. So we'll push our backs into the floor, bring the knees over the hips, bring one hand out to the outside of your hip, so it's just directly in a line, other arm up. We'll roll to the elbow, lift the chest. If you feel good with baby get-ups and can do about 5, you can try that. Let's go ahead, roll into our first side in 3, 2, and 1. So I'm pushing down and lifting into a side plank, and then actually rolling myself back down. So it's a roll over with the heels and knees off the floor. After you've finished your 3 to 5, you're just gonna situate yourself and go into your next set. So if 3 felt pretty easy, go ahead, take those 2 extra reps. You can take the 2 extra reps when I go into the explanations for our sets today. So keep in mind that most of these movements you probably know already from Bells Up TV programs. So we'll give you some minimal guidelines and then I'll walk you through form cueing as we take on the full program. Okay, finish up those baby get-ups. That is it for our bit of core warm-up because our program is actually our warm-up. If at any time you feel like you want to increase weight as we go, take this first round as sort of your warm-up set and then go up a bell for your second round. If you want this class to last more than 20 minutes, you can repeat this sequence 4 times instead of the 2 that I'm gonna do on camera with you in this video. So 20 minutes, maybe all the way up to around 40 if you really wanna go for it today. Okay, our first movement is going to be a suitcase deadlift. So we're gonna think of standing outside of our bell with the feet hip-width apart, hinging at the hips, so hips go back, standing up and picking up the bell. You can keep the bell in front of your shin if this feels a little better for you, or for an extra challenge, think of lifting the bell on the side without letting your hips and knees shift. So we'll go on the left side, then we'll clean our bell. So we're gonna bring it up into a rack position and just take a standing march. First 2 movements. Bell will come down. After that, we're going to repeat the right side. So deadlift and then march. The second set of movements, single arm swing and dead stop clean. So when we go into our dead clean, the bell will be between our feet. We will send, I'll do this one from the side so you guys can see, our hips back yet again, all hinging here, and then drop them a little bit so the chest is tall, so the bell can travel straight up the body as we clean it. You're going to think of a loose grip, shooting your elbows back, pushing the ground down, and exploding the hips forward to lift the weight. You should have a nice light grip, as I said, and the arm should be right close to the body as you do this. After that, we'll take a single arm swing. So bell is in front of you. Going to step behind it, send your hips back, find your deep hinge, bring your opposite arm across the chest to square your shoulders, and then initiate your swings. If single arm swings are not for you, you can take 2 hand swings today in our interval. We have 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off for these movements. You can take the swing variations in sets of 5 to 10. If swinging for the full 30 is a lot, it can be a big interval to swing. So 5 or 10, you could stop there, or you can keep adding on until we finish the interval. We're gonna go through this whole thing 2 times. Go ahead and get your bells out from here. So you can use a heavy one for the deadlifts, or you could use the same one for everything today. Okay, we're gonna start with those suitcase deadlifts on your left side. So go ahead and bring the bell outside of your left foot. You should make sure your ankle is dissecting the middle of the handle here, so you're not reaching forward for the bell. We'll go ahead and send our hips back in 3, 2, and 1. So you're gonna try to get as many deadlifts here as you can in the 30 seconds with good form. I'm not going all the way to the floor. I'm taking a little bit more of a Romanian style deadlift here because I can get a little bit more done with reps. This class is focused more on moderate weight with higher rep count and faster intervals than it is with just brute strength here. So this isn't gonna feel like the heaviest deadlift you've ever done. So try to stack them up. You've got 3, 2, and 1. So next up is our racked march on that left side. Bell will come between your feet. I'm gonna send our hips back and clean the bell in 15 seconds. If you're newer to dead stop cleans, it's all good. You can pause a little bit in the rack and practice just a couple reps, or you can really rep these out and practice getting down to the bottom position as quickly and efficiently as you can. Let's go in 3, 2, and 1. This is also a great class if you're a little more advanced and using some heavier bells to practice some of these ballistic power sequences with your heavy weights. So as I come down here, I'm pulling myself into the floor, loading my instep and the sole of my foot, and then pushing through the floor like I'm going to jump up straight in the air all the way up to the ceiling. You can lift your heels here for maximum power. You've got 3, 2, and 1. Very good, guys. We have another set of our body to do, so let's get set up on the right. Bell handle dissects the ankles. We're going to send our hips back in 15 seconds. Quick reminder on your hinge, it should be hips going back with a parallel shin here. So you don't want to bend forward or sit down like a squat. Let's start out our reps on the opposite side. We'll go 3, 2, and 1. Chin stays neutral and tucked. I push to lift, and then hinge at my hips. We also have these challenge sets here and classes that follow in order to be there for you if you're taking vacation, or if for some reason you have limited weights and you need classes that you can only use 1 or 2 bells for. These ones can do the job for you if you're in those situations. So keep that bookmarked for the future. You've got 3, 2, and 1. Marching coming up on that opposite side. So when we do this one, we're going to, you know what I did? I accidentally taught you guys, or did the dead stop clean with you guys. So we're gonna do the dead stop clean this round here, and then we'll switch it with the march. Sorry about that, I got a little ahead of myself. Let's take your dead stop clean on the opposite side. We'll go 3, 2, and 1. Got really excited about the dead stop clean after the deadlift. It's kind of a natural progression there because the deadlift sets you up to do this movement nice and quick. We'll probably just keep this format for the rest of the class since we only have 2 rounds of everything. Make this count since these classes are fast. Again, I want you to try to get down as quickly as you can with solid form here. You have 15 seconds in this interval, and then we're gonna hit our marches as promised. Clock is on here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So we're gonna start a sequence of marching and then single arm swinging. When you march, you can go opposite legs. You're just gonna hold that bell tight in your rack position and push down as you lift. Knee should be in line with hip, and you wanna aim for your toes pointing up versus your heel kicking your booty. We have 15 seconds until we go into the march on your left side. You're also gonna swing on the left side. This weight can be heavy if you're more advanced. Let's go ahead and start in 3, 2, and 1. If you get here and the marching is a little bit too much for you, let's say you're just swaying around side to side, or this variation is not working, you're kind of doing that, you can hold the bell a little bit with your opposite hand and just stand and practice feeling like you did in your forearm plank in the beginning. If you're here and losing your rack, that little cradle can really help out sometimes. So squeeze tight, squeeze your booty, push your heels into the floor, push your feet into the floor, pull your quads up. You've got 3, 2, and set your bell down gently through your hip hinge. Shake it out. We're gonna take your ballistic next. So this is your single arm swing on your left side here. Single arm swing on the left side. Remember, you can always take a 2-hand swing. If the single arm swing variation is not for you, you'll just repeat the 2-hand swing again when we do the opposite single arm swing side. Okay, 15 seconds. I want powerful swings in sets of 5, 10, or totally continuous through this interval. Clock is on here in 3, 2, and 1. So my hips go back. I'm gonna grip the bell, square my shoulders off, hike it, lifting my hips with the bell, letting it drop on its own, and being ready, getting to that start position in my deep hinge quickly to thrust and lift the bell. Opposite arm reaches back nice and far. Really give me a big reach with your fingers. I wanna see the fingers reaching behind you, the arm being straight. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, bell comes down. 30 seconds until we go into our march on our opposite side. We do this whole thing one more time, and then you're welcome to continue on your own if you wanna make this a 40-minute class like we spoke about in the beginning. Okay, roll back the shoulders, breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. You can even just repeat this sequence again, do a little rewind if you want to. The video is here for you forever. Clock is on for your next side march in 3, 2, and 1. Hips go back. Clean that bell, you get an extra dead clean there, and then start the march. We love doing these in programs for warm-ups, for core strength. So your abs are not just in the front here, they wrap all the way around your back. So if you are a runner or someone doing sports in general as an adult, this is a really good movement for you to practice, work on getting heavier with it. Also awesome if you love kettlebell training, which if you're here, you probably do, to work on your rack position. You've got 3, 2, and 1. Shake it out. If you're working on pressing heavy, so using a big bell to press eventually that maybe you can't quite do now, practicing holding the bell is a really great thing to do, and the marches are an awesome way to get that practice into. Okay, 15 seconds. Let's take your opposite side for single arm swings. I want you to concentrate on that big reach back, breath in, and then explosive out breaths as your hips extend and you stand. Clock is on here in 3, 2, and 1. So push back your hips right side. Notice the bell just floats in the air about chest height. So it's somewhere between my chest and shoulders. Watch that you're not snapping your knees. You're pulling up and squeezing your quads at the top. This top section should feel like a very strong plank. Let that bell fall down naturally. You've got just about 5 seconds. If you're still swinging, time for maybe 2 more. 3, 2, and rest. Okay, 1 more round of this, and we're finished with this 20-minute segment. Let's go ahead and get ready for those suitcase deadlifts on the left side. I know you guys are feeling pretty good with this. And again, if you want a little more weight out of this class, go ahead and add another kettlebell to your other side or make this bell heavier. You can go heavier and a little quicker to add some difficulty to this set. Okay, push your feet down here. We're gonna send our hips back in 3, 2, and 1. Throughout this program, you guys can look for different variations of deadlifts, a lot of different variations of squats. We've got push movements overhead. We've got horizontal push movements, chest presses. We've got push-ups, everybody's favorite. A lot of ballistic work. As you go through these classes, it will build just like most of our programs. So the first class kind of introduces things, and then we build from here. Clock is on for 3, 2, and 1. Very good. We're gonna take dead cleans on that side. Same thing. I also want to say that we always have conditioning classes available on the app in the conditioning library, which are fast-paced classes. They're timed classes like this one, so you'll know if it's 10, 20, 30 minutes, and you can do those a la carte at any time, even in between some of these challenge classes if you want to. Let's go ahead and start our dead cleans. 3, 2, and 1. So if you like this challenge idea, but you're thinking, okay, 3 days a week at 20 minutes, but the other 2, maybe I want to have a 30-minute or take the cardio up a little bit, go for it with one of those. That's your option. You can also always do any of our classes within the strength programs whenever you want at any point. Clock is on here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, bells come down, rest. We're gonna take your deadlift on your opposite side. So go ahead, step next to your bell. Again, think about this hinge position and think about sending your hips back. If a wall is behind you, you'd be able to tap it with your booty versus skim it if you were bending on the way down. 15 seconds here into this suitcase deadlift. Clock is on very soon. Get ready. Clock is on in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You're probably like, yeah, you said clock was on like 6 times. Get it together, Lacee. Try to count your reps as you go through here. I like to keep my other hand just kind of chilling right here at the side and tight to keep this side of my body from moving a lot. You might be the same. You might like keeping it down at the side of your body, kind of mimicking what's going on with this deadlift. Wherever you're at today with that other arm, try to make a fist and keep some tension there. It's going to keep that other side from opening up, which is not what we want when we're loaded in this movement. We want this to be unilateral and not rotation. You've got 3, 2, and rest here. Last dead stop clean, and then we're on to our final 2 movements, final set of movements in this session. Roll your shoulders back 15 seconds. Ultimate power here. Keep thinking about jumping through the floor and making the grip and the arm feel light and seamless as you do this. Clock is on here in 3, 2, and 1. As you get more advanced with this stuff, you'll notice your movements aren't gonna change too much. The stimulus can get harder with weight or tempo. And one of the best things is it starts to get easier to actually set yourself up for the movement. So when you're newer, it takes a little while to think about all those steps. As you get better at it, you can get into start position for all these movements quickly and be ready to go right in that interval. So if you're still working on setup, we're gonna rest in 3, 2, and 1. Start thinking of these moments in your rest breaks. It's time to get ready. Don't wait until the last second to start setting yourself up for the movement. So I'm gonna give you that nice 5-second countdown, but once you finish, The 30 seconds isn't that long, so you wanna make sure that you're getting ready for what's next, which is our march. You have 10 seconds till we're in it, so go ahead, start stepping next to your bell. We're gonna come down, pick the bell up through your dead clean, and march in 3, 2, and 1. The other point of these challenge classes is to save you some time. So we're mostly going to be going short intervals for things. You're not going to get a lot of rest. So just keep that in mind when you're selecting the weights that you have. These classes can actually be quite challenging if you have a big bell. So keep that in mind. If you have access to a lot, you can also keep them next to you. If you don't have kettlebells all the time, bring some dumbbells. The only thing you really can't sub them for are ballistics. You've got 3, 2, and 1. So a single arm swing with the dumbbell really isn't the best choice. But instead of the single arm swing, you could do something like deadlift again, just a little bit faster. You could do some squat jumps just to get some vertical motion going. You could do some broad jumps, jumping forward. So there are ways we can modify if you don't have a kettlebell all the time, but this does work better with a bell. Okay, here we go. Clock is on for your first set of single arm swings in 3, 2, and 1. Well, first set in this interval. It's important to think about, sometimes life gets in the way. We're not gonna say that everything is perfect all the time and you can always follow a program to a T, but having something on your calendar when you know those tough times are around or you're super busy, you've got 3, 2, and 1, can keep the motivation going and keep the routine going. These classes are all about keeping your routine sacred. So you're at least taking those 20 minutes for yourself to stay focused and keep in the game. Because sometimes if you miss a couple sessions, it can be really challenging to get back into it and then you fall behind. So these things are almost like your stay in the game until you can really be on the field again. Okay, here we go. Clock is on for your march in 3, 2, and 1. So I'll clean up my belt. Last time in my march. Make sure as you do this, again, you're pushing down through the stable leg and thinking about lifting your knee that way. It should be a lot harder to lift the leg on the weighted side than the unweighted side. So when you're here, you might feel kind of shaky in your hips. Try to push down your foot to lift, and you might feel some more stability. Gently bring your bell down in 3, 2, and 1. Your final set is coming up. We have one more set of single arm swings to finish out our class today. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Remember, if you want a little more, you can take this whole sequence 2 more times on your own, or just rewind till the warm-up if you forgot the movements, and you can go through them with me for a second time. Okay, last set of single arm swings, and then you guys are done for your 20-minute session. Clock is on here in 3, 2, and 1. Set it up. If you're going uninterrupted, you're probably gonna get close to 15. If you're setting the bell down after 5, that's good. You're just gonna take a little break, come back into it. I just did 10 and have around a 15-second break before the next set, or the class is over, I guess we would say. You're here for 3, 2, and 1. Bell comes down. Dust it off your shoulder. You did your first class in your challenge. I'm gonna see you guys for the next 5 classes in a row. You heard that right. All 20-minute sessions. Our next class is just gonna change things up a little bit. We're gonna do some squatting and pushing. Actually, both classes, the next set of 3, have squatting and pushing. And if you have followed Bells Up TV programs before, this one we don't ask you to repeat. Usually we say you're gonna repeat the classes again. You can just breeze through this whole program, do all 6 in a row, and then move on to the next 6. You get a day off on day 7 in between these sets. Again, I'm Lacey. I will see you guys in class 2. Remember, get real, get strong, bells up. Bye.